Hello, Ralph Bean here, reporting for the Fedora Modularity Working Group, sprint number 9. Like last sprint, I've been working on documentation for Factory 2.0, which you can find here on the Fedora Wiki under infrastructure/Factory 2. There's a link here to the drafts, which are on my user space. Here, this is the overview document, which, like from last sprint, goes over an overview. And I'm working now on the subdocuments that get into each of these different problem statements that we collected and are trying to come up with solutions to describe the problems more fully and so on. This sprint I've been working on the deserialization document. Here, now this is primarily about, in our pipeline, the things where we have things that happen unnecessarily in serial, perhaps. Perhaps, obviously, we'd like things to happen in parallel as much as possible so that things can happen more quickly, so that developers can then get feedback more quickly when they make a change to a component to understand what changes that might introduce, or to get QE feedback on artifacts that are composed of their component change with other component changes that people are making. It's broken into 3 major sections here on signing and containers, the compose generally, and then a continuous compose. For signing containers here, this section is on building containers. We have this as a new piece of infrastructure in Fedora that is only in staging right now and is aimed to be ready for production for, I think, either by Fedora 25 or it might come after. I have to check with release engineering to find out. But the point of it is that when you build containers with OSBS, the OpenShift build service, it has to currently pull its containers from a compose, and part of the reason for that is that it needs all of the RPMs in it to be signed in order for the construction of the container to work correctly. Our problem there then stems into that when we sign content, when we sign RPMs components in release engineering, there are semantics associated with that. It typically means that release engineering has blessed this, it's ready to be shipped, it can be trusted. But we don't necessarily want to grant that to any old thing that we build. There's a certain amount of care that's put into protecting that. So part of what we want to do to fix this is to split up signing into 2 different kinds of signing, to have a build key that we can use to sign everything that comes out of the build system, and there will be overhead associated with that we'll have to figure out how to solve. And then also separately have a gold key or a blessed Relange key that will have the sort of same semantics that it does today. Cool, so there are other changes that need to go in there. Once we have a build key, we'll need to have auto-signing infrastructure. Till has been working on an auto-signer that, for the most part, works, but we'll need some, I think, some help to meet this use case. And then there's the signed repos work that Jay Griguski's been working on. There's a pull request pending for Koji on that. And lastly, what is that last part? Well, OSBS will need to have its configuration changed to point, instead to of being pointed at a compose repository, to point at a repository that comes out of the signed repos code in Koji. Here, there's a section discussing the compose in general, managed by Punji today, Punji 4, and Punji is broken into phases, which are depicted here in its current operation. Notice that some of the things that Punji does, it does in parallel, which is very good. That's one of the advantages that Punji had over its predecessors, is that it could farm out work to Koji and have Koji do them all in parallel and then come back when it's done. One of the things that we kind of realize after the fact, though, is that one of these first steps, these first phases, the package set phase, effectively serves as a lock on the tag that Punji is working on, which means that even though the internals of